Hi everyone, it's Jen from You So Much, and today we're going to talk about how to name something. So I know you've been super creative and you've been coming up with all kinds of ideas for a new course or a new book or a new worksheet or a new program of some kind. And so you might be thinking to yourself, what am I going to name this thing? How am I going to name it so that it's going to attract my perfect person to listen to it, watch it, read it, download it, and help make their fantasies come true. Now, this was all inspired because this morning when I woke up, a member of my mastermind group had posted in our Facebook group that he was needing some help on naming his podcast. And I immediately thought about some of my favorite podcasts, which all have a fantastic name. And one of the biggest reasons why it has such a great name is that it really reflects who it's for and what it does, what it's all about. Now, for example, one of my favorites is the Unmistakable Creative. Now, I don't think it's a big brain tease here to clue you in on this is all about really unique creative people, and it's probably for unique people who really want to be super unique, who want to be unmistakable. The other one that I really love is the Mind Your Business podcast. Now, that one is all about your mindset in your business, and it makes you think outside the box about different solutions for your business. It's a fairly new podcast. I absolutely love it. The YOUPRENEUR podcast, again, easy to guess that that's for entrepreneurs, and his whole thing is about how you feel really alone and how it really relates with what you're going through as an entrepreneur. YOUPRENEUR. Another favorite one of mine that I've really recently started listening to just the last month is by a friend of mine, and it's called WEWRITTEN, and it's one of those serialized written story podcasts, and it's fantastic. And it's called WeWritten because he's inviting friends to help him write different segments of the podcast. And a friend of his came up with the name, and it's a fantastic name, by the way. I love it. WeWritten. Go check it out. So anyway, as you can tell, the names of your podcast or your programs or your books, your ebooks, all that fun stuff, those should really reflect who it's for and what it's all about. And it should do it in a way that's really unique and memorable. Those two things are super important. We'll get back to those in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a process with you on how to come up with the name of something that does these things. And it's a really simple process. I thought what I'd do is I would go through something that I need to name for myself. Because one of the things that I have decided to do is to come up with some kind of a free course for business owners, for new entrepreneurs who need help on celebrating their business. So how do I do that in my name? How do I really attract a new business owner, entrepreneur who's struggling and who's feeling down, who really needs to celebrate their business? How can I do that? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take out a piece of paper, and you can do this on your computer too if you want. I just prefer to do this by hand because I just kind of think better and brainstorm better when I'm using my pen and paper. But basically what you want to do is you want to scratch out 6 columns. Now in the first column, I want you to write down who it's for. In the second column, I want you to write down what it is. In the third column, I want you to write down what it does. In the fourth column, I want you to write down what the benefits are or fantasies are. In the fifth column, I want you to write down how you want them to feel. And in the sixth column, you're going to write down, I'm going to call it catchy. And we'll come back to that. In the first column for my business, who it's for is an early stage entrepreneur or a new business owner. The second one is what it is, which is basically an online class or an online course of some kind. The third column is what it does. Well, it basically teaches entrepreneurs how to celebrate their business. Now, the next column, of course, is my favorite because it's about their fantasies, right? What's the real value for them? What's their benefit? What fantasies are you going to help them realize? And in this case, for my course, there were so many, I had to kind of narrow it down. I wrote down all of them, though, anyway, and I recommend that you do that too. If you have a lot of fantasies you're helping them make come true, a lot of benefits to your program, course, podcast, whatever it is, then write them all down. And essentially for mine, when it really came down to it, really was to help them, motivate them, help them do good in their business, feel good about their business, and help them focus on the things that are going right in their business, right? So that's what I wrote down there. And then the next column is how you want them to feel. And of course, for this one, I really want them to feel excited and having fun in their business. That was kind of the main thing, was fun. And then for the last column, catchy, we'll get back to that in a minute. Let's go back to the the first 5 columns again, because what we're going to do is we're going to fill those in with more words that are related to these words. Another thing to remember is to think about the kinds of things that that person would say, the words that they would use, and the things that they like to be called. So they might rather be called boss, because that's why they became an entrepreneur, right? A boss or a CEO. They might really prefer to call business a biz. And think about that as you're doing all of these columns. Think about the words that they would use, that they would really be attracted to as you're filling these out, because you're going to use these words in coming up with your name. Now, the reason why I call the last column catchy is because I want it to be something that really catches their attention. So the other thing that really helps when you're coming up with a name for something is to think about words that would fit into alliteration or rhythm and rhyme. So you also want to look at some of the key words that you've written down that you've noticed. So like for me, it was like business, celebration, party, and then write down more catchy words that kind of reflect that more. So maybe like startup or biz, and then words that rhyme. So things like, you know, what rhymes with celebration? Station. What rhymes with boss? Sauce. That kind of thing. So write down other catchy words or words that might fit in well with alliteration or rhythm and rhyme. And so just keep doing this. Now, the final step that you want to do is you want to basically start combining some of these words to create a name that really reflects what it's all about. So for me, I just wrote down all kinds of combinations. Business birthday party, CEO celebration, party like a boss, partypreneur, the startup celebration, the business barbecue, the celebration station, Party Inc. You get the idea here. And from there, the last step you can do is you can start shortening some of these words and combining them together even further. So for example, one of the ideas I had was a business birthday party. So, but I realized, well, gosh, you know, I could make it a little bit further alliteration if I said a business birthday bash. And then I was like, well, it'd be cool if I said a biz bash instead. And I was like, wait a minute, what about a biz day bash or a biz day party? So it gives you an idea of how you can kind of shorten it up and kind of combine words to make it even shorter. Now, when you're all done with this process, you should hopefully have a name that really reflects who it's for and really what it does and the benefits of what it's doing, right? Not just simple what it does, but how it's helping them, how it's helping make their fantasies come true. And the other thing you really want to make sure it is something that is truly memorable and unique. That is really key. And that's one of the reasons why I have that final column is catchy, because that sometimes can be the final little thing that helps make it memorable and unique, and it's not just humdrum. I mean, can you imagine if I called my course a celebration class for entrepreneurs rather than calling it a biz day bash? The difference is just huge. So anyway, I still haven't decided what I'm going to name my business. I'm going to keep working on it. If you guys liked any of the names that I threw out there, I'd love to hear from you. Or if you have an idea of your own, I welcome all ideas. Please leave it in the comments below. And I have one final thing to tell you guys about, and that is that I created a bonus worksheet for y'all to make it so much easier to go through this process. So it outlines the entire 6 columns on there for you, leaves space for you to write down all your words and create one business name for whatever creative endeavor you've got going on. And speaking of words, don't forget to write down the words of your own fantasy, because words make it real.